are back again for a new reading. Here's the message. Plan a relaxing activity. This is the first time this one has come out for me, so when I was thinking about it, because I like to incorporate these things, I don't just pull a card, for the sake of the video. I like to actually incorporate because that's the whole purpose. So when I was thinking about it, I was like, okay, so what kind of relaxing activity can I plan? And then I thought about it and I'm like, what actually relaxes me? And I had to think for a minute or two. And then I realized that I had some misconceptions about what actually relaxed me. Because the other day I have been working on this project where I'm uploading all of my old lessons online so that I can sell them. And as I was going through that process, I noticed that I was feeling annoyed, agitated, I couldn't wait for it to end. It just was not a good feeling. And that's not how I had been feeling lately. So it really stuck out to me. And then I thought about it just now and I'm like, that's interesting because when I'm painting or sewing or doing something creative, making something or writing or doing my videos, I feel the complete opposite. I feel competent, connected, relaxed. I feel happy doing it. It adds confidence. It's the complete opposite feeling of what I feel when I'm making lessons or when I'm uploading my old lessons. I wasn't really making lessons, but so that was interesting to me because I didn't really notice that before. All right, so little extra information before we actually get into the reading. So here's the first question. What qualities should I look for in a business partner? And the first card is Four of Wands and the Three of Wands. So when I look at this card, I think about somebody who is willing to play with me. I feel happy around them. I feel playful. I feel supported. I feel seen. I feel like this is a friend, somebody who gets me, right? And then this card is a little bit opposite. And what was coming up was there's a cat here. So maybe this person's a cat owner. They love cats, just like me. Sort of like a loner, a leader, maybe. This person has red or blonde hair, so maybe the person in mine has red or blonde hair. And the person who came up for me definitely does. It's another teacher that I met some years ago. I was actually her teacher assistant before I became a teacher in my own classroom. So maybe it's time for me to reach out to her and see what she's doing. Maybe now is a good time for us to come together, whereas when we first met, maybe the energies weren't aligned for that. How things come back around. So that's it for that question. What pattern do I need to address? The Fool and Queen of Pentacles. So what came out for me was when I looked at the first card, the Fool, I immediately thought starting over from the beginning, because the Fool is when you're starting on a new journey and you're, figuring out as you go and you're just, all excited and just leaping out of faith and, which is a really great energy to be in. And so, patterns are like things that we do that no longer serve us. So they served us at one point, which is why we developed the pattern in the first place. But it becomes an issue when we overdo it. So what came out for this was I don't set myself up to have a soft place to land. That's what came up. And what I guess that means, or what's coming up for that is, let's take my traveling, for example. When I traveled to China and I was teaching there, I sold my car. Like, I completely cut ties. Like, I got rid of my apartment. Like, I didn't have anything waiting for me. Like, I cut all ties, all bridges, all connections. Um, Obviously not with family, but like with most things. Um, and I just went for like, I just fully jumped into the new opportunity. Um, and, you know, like I said, that has its pros and cons, but I didn't anticipate what would happen when I had to come back home. I think a part of me like didn't want to, like, wasn't planning on coming back home, but then not fully like knowing, but not fully like planning for incorporating the fact that coming back to like a safe space, so to say, and incorporating the lessons that you've learned while you traveled is just as important as the traveling itself. And so my soul knew that, and I was like, you know, I would always feel the pull when it was time to come back home and, you know, gather myself, incorporate some of the lessons, and then go back out and travel some more. So I was basically looking at the traveling from a standpoint of um, what is the cheapest way to do this rather than what is the, what did I write down here? What is the, without thinking through from a how can I be comfortable standpoint instead of a how can I do this for the least amount of money standpoint. So when I was doing my traveling, I was thinking about, okay, so what's the cheapest way that I can get this done? Where's the cheapest place I can stay? How's the cheapest mode of transportation? Like me spending the least amount of money and energy, really just money, because a lot of times the amount of energy that it took to go through some of these things, like to ride the bus, for example, from one random rural place in Costa Rica to another when I could just rent a car, like, you know, that kind of stuff. So really, I thought I was saving myself money and energy, but I wasn't. Because I wasn't taking into consideration my comfortability in the whole process, because that's what matters the most. Like, yeah, it's cheaper to get on the bus, but it's more convenient to rent a car. And in a lot of cases, I mean, I guess it costs more because you got to pay for gas and whatever. But in foreign countries, rental cars are not that expensive. And then, especially me, like you know, like let's say I had a bags and whatever to travel with. Um, It's just easier when you have your own car. Move at your own pace, and then you get to make like cool, cute little stops along the way. Like, let's say you're driving by and you see like a river, or you see like some animals, and like if you're on the bus or public transportation, you can't stop, obviously. I mean, I guess you could get off or like yell at the bus driver to let you off or whatever, but that's a lot. That's a lot to deal with, rather than just getting a rental car and enjoying the ride, you know? Um, so yeah, just coming into that understanding and realizing that um, I was doing it the wrong way. Like I had the wrong priorities when it came to travel, and then that trickled obviously into other parts of my life as well. Um, I tended to prioritize what's the cheapest, more efficient way to do things rather than what is the most comfortable way of doing things. Like what's gonna set me up, like what is gonna support me in the ebb and flow of life. Like let's go back to the, you know, if I hadn't sold my car, and yeah, it would have costed me money to be, just because I thought, obviously I thought the whole thing through, and I came to the conclusion that it didn't make sense for me to have a car sitting at my mom's house and nobody's driving it and I'm paying for it. And, you know, I thought, like, you know, obviously it would be more convenient to have a car when I come back home, but I didn't want to have to pay for that car while I wasn't driving it. But I could have thought of more solutions. Like I could have put it up on turbo, or I could have, like, I don't know, found somebody who needed a car. Like there's so many options that I could have thought through when it came to that, just so that I'd be able to support myself afterwards. Because when I came home, like, I don't mind not having a car, but like it's really inconvenient. Like, let's just be honest. And like putting myself in those situations just so I can travel wasn't worth it. And now, the time I didn't realize it, now I am realizing it. And then, so that was all the Fool. And then Queen of Pentacles. What did I write down here for that? I don't think anything came out for the Queen of Pentacles. It was mainly just, oh yes, attaching love to money or focusing on money too much. And that kind of ties back in with the whole, like, how can I save the most money rather than how can I be the most comfortable? And this is like when I get into, I was going to say when I get into relationships, so this isn't really about relationships, but maybe, I mean, obviously it has a connection. So I'm going to say it. When I get into relationships, I put how much, I put a big emphasis on money. Like I have, I guess, trauma that's attached to money or something that just makes me feel like everybody that comes into my life is there to use me. So if that person is not spending their own money or reciprocating that situation, like the money situation, it triggers me. So there's a whole thing around that. But anyway, that's what came out for that card. So what do I need to work on in order to be happy in my love life? And then we have Page of Coins and Queen of Swords. So it came out for this Page of Coins. Immediately I saw the books and I thought, know it all. And that could definitely be me, a know-it-all. I'm trying to figure out what I wrote. That's for the business partner. Where did I write it? Okay, so stop having to know everything and stop pretending like you know everything and stop relying on knowing everything and having to see things, know everything before it happens and all that kind of stuff. And this one, leaning more into loving unconditionally, because the Queen of Swords, she gives tough love. She loves conditionally. A lot of time, like for a while, I thought tough love was normal. It's not. It's conditional love. Tough love is conditional love. So the Queen of Swords, she deals with tough love. This person, they need to change in some kind of way. So what can I do in order to get them to change? How can I punish them? How can I shame them? How can I control them? How can I do all of these things to get them to do what I think they should do? That's the Queen of Swords. That's conditional love. That's tough love. Unconditional love says, how can I support this person more? How can I accept them more? How can I get them? How can I be of service? That's unconditional love. Oh, they're crying, they didn't have a good day, or there some things are coming up for them. How can I hold space for them in a way that's meaningful for them? How can I there's something about them that irks me or triggers me. How can we have a conversation to kind of work through that, rather than how can I change this person? How can I make them stop doing that? That's conditional love. Unconditional love is more like, how do I get to a place where this doesn't trigger me? How can I support myself in that journey? How can I have my partner support me in that journey? So leaning more into that rather than, you said this, you did that, it made me feel this kind of way, so now I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that to make you feel this kind of way. Like, no, we're done with that. Okay, so let's go to the next question. What are my weaknesses in my career? Ace of Swords and King of Swords. Got a lot of sword energy going on with this with this weakness energy, like, and so that says to me, because sword energy is mental, so it's really my thoughts on a lot of things. I think I already know everything. I think that the right way to do things is tough love. I think that I don't need anyone. And so that's kind of messing me up with my career, because I tend to be a loner. I tend to, try to do everything by myself. And like with everything, has its pros and cons. There's a part at which this serves, and there's a point at which it hinders. And I've been doing this too much. So now it's time to start making connections with people and networking and whatever. Which I'm not excited about, I'll be honest, but the energy is there for it. So I'm just going to ride the wave. And then we've got King of Swords. The King of Swords makes logical decisions. He makes head over heart decisions, whereas the Queen of Swords, she gives tough love. The King of Swords sort of gives tough love too, but it's more like there's much less emotion here with the King of Swords. It's all business. It's all like, this is, straight and narrow. This is what's supposed to happen, period. Like, there's no, whereas with the Queen of Swords, that might be like a little moment where she's like, I do this because I love you. Like, he will never say that. You're supposed to, like, know. Just know that, like, that he'll never say I love you. He'll just do things that where you're supposed to assume, but it's never like real love. It's just like, anyway. Yeah. Let's see what I wrote down. Okay, so too much of a loner with Ace of Swords. You need to network more. Not always able to see the big picture. Yeah, so the King of Swords is focused on logic. He's focused on what he can see. He's focused on what makes sense, and not on what could possibly happen in the future, because he can't control that. He can only control what's happening right now. So yeah, the King of Swords is all about control. He's all about like logical decisions, what's right in front of me. Whereas, and that's how I've been approaching things. And so the energy now is saying you need to start moving away from that and thinking more big picture. Like, yeah, I'm doing all of this right now, and it might seem like it doesn't matter. It might seem like it's too much, and getting all caught up in the feelings and the emotions of that, like, the stress of having to get up and do monotonous things every day on a daily basis, but forgetting that it all leads to something bigger, and being able to keep that in mind, being able to make that the goal rather than the small wins along the way. All right, so am I giving myself enough time for self-love? With a star and the Six of Wands. So both of these, they look at peace. They look triumphant. More so in this one, triumphant. At peace here, but proud in both. So this screams yes. I have definitely been giving myself maybe too much time. I don't know if there's such a thing as too much time, but I've been giving like 90% of the time that I have for self-care. I'm glowing and fully aligned. Now's the time. Perfect time for manifesting, turning dreams into plans. The energy is aligned for that because of the amount of like emotion, the amount of self-care coins that I've been putting in my bank lately. Now the bank is full and it's time to cash out and start manifesting my dreams, start making them plans, like actionable plans, like rather than laying and staring at the ceiling and thinking about what I want to do. Actually setting a plan in motion to do it in the 3D. What else do I have here? Yeah, with this one, you came up out of the shadows victoriously. See how this card is like, and it's funny because this card is on the top, and she's all bright and happy and at peace and full of love and connected to her heart space. And then this one is like, it looks a little bit dark, but he's standing at the top triumphant. So you can see all that darkness and foolishness. He came through at the bottom and ended up at the top of the mountain, triumphant. Love that. All right, so let's go to the next question. Where will I be in 1 year? Dead. That's that. I know. I have the most ironic sense of humor, sarcastic sense of humor. But no, that's not what this means. This means when death is about a transformation, it's about something dying in order to make space for something else to be reborn, because death is a cycle. So you die and you become and you are reborn, and you die and you be reborn, die and reborn, die and reborn. This happens while you're alive, technically, and it also happens when you physically die. It's all a cycle. So death is not this permanent thing that we have come to believe that it is. So yes, in 1 year I will be dead, but I will be fully transformed. And following my heart 100% of the time. I'm so excited for this because the death card has been coming out a lot and I've been going through it. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. Like, I've been going through it. So for this card to come out, and the first thing I heard was complete transformation, and then Knight of Cups, going towards what you feel like is wish fulfillment, like, and actually getting it. So yes, love that. All right. Will my business be successful? Right here, 2 of Coins and 3 of Cups. So 2 of Coins, she's kind of like doing a lot all at the same time, right? And so what came out was, I've had this idea, like, with my channel and just with all of the work that I put out. I'm multidimensional, and I think a lot of people are. A lot of creatives are, at least. And for me to make a YouTube channel based on all of my interests, I probably have like 10 to 15 different channels. And who really has the time for that? Like, that's one. And then 2, as far as like viewership, like, all right, this is what's come out, so I'm gonna say it, right? So let's think about Walmart and Target and all of these like superstores where they don't just sell one thing. They sell a variety of things, and people love these stores because of that reason. Now you don't have to go to the meat store and the bakery and the clothing store and all of these different stores for all the things that you need. You can just go to one place and get everything all at the same time. And it's more convenient and it's easier and it makes more sense. And that's why these stores have put other types of businesses out of business. And so why can't the same thing be applied to creativity and to YouTube channels? Why should a viewer have to go to this person if they want to watch, I don't know, cooking videos, and to this person if they want to watch cat videos, and to this person if they want to learn about money, and to this person if they want to whatever? Like, yeah, I get the whole thing of like mastering a craft, but the issue with watching only people who have mastered something is that a lot of times they don't share the journey with you. They don't share the process. So you get into this mentality of, oh, it's easy. And if it's not easy for me, then all the enjoyment gets taken out of it. And so I think it's really important, and I'm feeling the push, and I'm like, there was a point in my life, I remember maybe 5 or 6 years ago, I wanted to do something. I think I was making business cards, and I was like, what should I put on my business card? Because there's a lot of services that I offer. And so I asked people for advice, and they were like, I was like, why don't I just put everything that I offer on the one card? And so now everybody that gets the card, they know, okay, if you don't need babysitting services, then you might need a tutor, or you might need, I don't know, somebody to help you organize whatever services I was offering. You might not need one of the things. Let's say I just put one thing on the card. You might not need that card, and you might not need that service that's on the card. And so you throw it away or you forget about it, but there might be, if I had 10 services on there might be one that you're interested in. And I get that people exploit that, and they might not be good at all of those different services. And so we go back to the expert thing. People want an expert all the time. And it's we forget. It kind of reminds me of when you're applying for a job and they tell you you need all this experience, but how are you supposed to get the experience without getting the experience? If every job is asking you, we need experience before we can hire you, then how are you supposed to get the experience? Are you supposed to work for free? I guess that's the mentality behind it. They expect you to I don't know, volunteer somewhere, intern and work for free, and then that's how you get your experience. But I guess, and yeah, that makes sense. But still, with things like YouTube channels where I'm not asking you guys to pay me for a service, I think I can make it a one-stop shop and express myself fully the way that I want to. And also, I was telling the story, right? And I went off track in the middle of it. But basically, I started out with that story of why I asked. So I asked people, and they were like, oh no, you should just put one on there because, everybody wants somebody who's a master at their craft. And if you put a bunch of stuff on there, you're not going to look like a master. And so they were like, no, don't do it. And I listened, but now it's that's coming back up. And that's who I am. I'm not somebody who just does one thing. I like to do a bunch of different things. And I have a lot of different experience and a lot of different knowledge to share in different areas. And I'm not making a million different YouTube channels for it. So whatever, take it or leave it. Yeah, so anyway, that's the Two of Coins. So the Three of Cups, what did I write down for that? Let's see. Yes, do all things, lean into it. Everything will come into alignment. You'll have a lot of enjoyment. So if I pursue my business and put my entire self into it, all of the things that I'm interested in, then I'll have a lot of fun, at the very least. But fun equates to abundance to me, so hey, I think it's all tied together. Anyway, this was today's reading. Thank you for listening, and until next time, be well.